Later. We should do karaoke night.
You're my lady.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, on this crazy week, January 16th. Today is the 16th.
The 16th, yeah.
2020, and not the TV show on Channel 7, but welcome to Hamilton Radio, talking baseball live at Sound Lane today. Hamilton Radio, Iron Horse Film Studio. And we got on this end of the table
Matt Sirianni.
The commish, Dan Schweck.
And the voice, Andy Santoro.
Carl McGlowski.
and Carl, announce your friend there.
And another Philly fan, we have Casper Novelli Jr., special guest tonight on the show with us.
All right, let's
Casper.
welcome everybody
All right.
back. It's a little windy and cold, and speaking of windy and cold, what in the blue diamond is going out on the baseball diamond? I mean, when we bowl in the 10th frame, when you throw 3 strikes in a row, it's called a turkey. Yeah. And it looks like MLB did that this week.
You've got a bunch of turkeys in Major League Baseball.
Matt, you started it and said, we got to discuss the Astros
Yes,
scandal.
I did.
And I believe they waited for the winter meetings to end to see what was going on.
Yeah.
It was Hinch, then Cora, and today Beltran, and it was like,
And also,
what's going on?
Also, you gotta remember also, Jeff Luna, the general manager of the Astros, was fired. So let me go through this whole little timeline of firings, if you will, over the past 4 days. So on Monday, the day of the college football championship, it was announced that the Astros were going to get their punishment, their long-awaited punishment, which was originally Luna and Hinch were going to be suspended for the 2020 season, a fine of $5 million, which is a little bit of a slap on the wrist, and first and second round draft pick losses for this year and next year's MLB draft. A half hour after the punishment was handed down, Jim Crane, who's the owner of the Houston Astros, fired Hinch and Luna, which was a good move because he wanted to clear the slate. He wanted all this toxic atmosphere out of his team, and I commend him for that. Problem is, damage has been done. And there's more to talk about when it comes to this whole sign stealing scandal. And Carl, you have your finger up, so.
But not so fast, my friend.
Okay.
The owner should have been whacked too.
Really?
I was going to say that. I said, now, is that $5 million fine on the owner itself of the team, or is that just in general of the Astros organization?
That's the
I thought
Astros
it was
organization, I think.
Yeah, it's the general organization.
It's the general organization.
And he says, well, not on my watch, but he
It is on his
did
watch.
it on your watch. So I believe what you said is true. I think the owner of the team should get a punishment for that as well.
Think about it with the LA Clippers a couple years ago with their owner. He was forced to sell a team. And that was much less extreme than what happened there.
Because back when, in the mid-'90s, George had to step away for a couple of years. And Stick Michael had to run the club.
That's right.
They should have done that.
Got involved
You know what I'm saying?
Thing with the Olympics, yes.
Cap, what do you think?
About?
The
Houston,
whole Houston
organization.
fallout.
They got what was coming to them. They got a serious.
Agreed.
They got a serious problem. They lost their first 2 picks for the next 2 years, and a $5 million fine, which is the most they could have gotten anyway.
But is that enough? I mean, really. The first round picks, here's my thing. With baseball, I think if it was football, it's a big deal because picks are free. But with baseball, you have a farm system that your best player is probably already in the farm system.
You can build,
So what do you do from there? You lose a couple picks, big whoop-de-doo. You know what I mean? I don't know.
We're going to turn it to you, Andy. Being, we're going to go light on you. Don't worry about it.
Terrible day to be a Mets fan, guys.
What was said was, okay, we're not going to mention one player in particular, but they did throw out Beltran's name. Why?
Yeah.
Don't know, but in turn that they said Van Wagen is like, well, it's not a Met problem, that's an Astro problem. I'm not a Met, I mean, I love baseball, I'm not a huge Met fan, but I don't think he should have gotten fired. At least give the guy a chance.
Well, I mean, so here's my take on the whole Beltran thing. I think that, first off, he never actually admitted to the Mets that he was part of it. He kind of just said,
if he
okay,
would tell the truth,
you know what I know, what we both know is that this happened.
Well, the thing with that is the Mets should have asked Beltran, hey, right when the scandal came out, hey, we heard about the scandal, your name's in the document. Were you a part of this? And if you were, how much did you contribute to? That's on the Mets.
Well, so here's the thing. This is why I honestly...
Van Wagenen said it during the press conference today that he didn't
On the
know
conference
about
call.
it. We didn't know about it.
Well, so that's the thing. So here's 2 points right here. The first point is that since Beltran got hired as a manager, he has not done a single interview, whether it's on TV, on the radio, on SNY, nothing. Because he knows that when he's asked the question, did you cheat? He's going to say, yes, I did. Because that's the guy Beltran is. That's
But
who he is.
my question is, shouldn't Van Wagen know already before they even hired him in the first place?
Van Wagen wanted this to happen from the start because now he gets the chance. You're 4 weeks out from the start of spring season, and guess what? He's the new manager. So no matter who they hire, whether it's bringing back Terry Collins, whether it's hiring Showalter for a huge pay cut, Van Wagen got what he wanted, and that was the idea that he's going to run the team now. He's going to get another smell like Mickey Callaway to take over the team, and that's it. This was Brody. How do you not know the whole time when you're hiring Beltran?
Correct. Now, here's the thing, though. When the new owner takes over in a couple years, if he's not winning, he's going to get rid of him. He's going to get his own guy in.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. I mean, I don't
Do
know.
you think Mr. Cohen is salivating in the background somewhere with his cash going, I'm ready. I know this is coming.
It's, you know what?
And I always said something. I said when they hired Beltran, what did
Yes.
I say? Terry Collins is waiting in the wings.
You're
I
right.
said, by the All-Star breaker before, he's going to be the manager again. The season didn't even begin yet. It's like that. What's that South Park thing, Dan? Here's the Mets season. Season's over.
Family Guy. Yeah.
Before we keep on going, I want to give a shout out to the commish, Dan Schweck, for picking Tennessee over Baltimore last week.
I told you guys go with the hot hand. You got to keep going with the hot hand.
And if you don't believe it happened, you can just go back and watch the video from last week.
Now, get back to the scandal. There's one team that we didn't talk about as far as the scandal goes, and that's our good old Boston Red Sox. So, Alex Cora,
Who was bench coach.
he was the bench coach in 2017 for the Astros, and he was the manager in 2018 for the Red Sox. What happened was, on Tuesday, he and John Henry, who's the owner of the Red Sox, they apparently mutually agreed to part ways.
Well, that was like today. They mutually agreed.
But the problem with that is there's going to be a punishment for Cora no matter what. So he probably knew, this is my opinion, he probably knew he was in deep trouble as soon as the punishment came out.
Oh, he knew, yeah.
Like, he knew he was in deep trouble. So he probably decided to throw himself on the knife saying, you know what, I'm not going to do anything
Well, that
about
was like
this.
Beltran. When it went trickled to one guy to the other, and Beltran was like,
Next in line.
you know what? They threw my name out there for some reason. Now, don't think Beltran's not going to come out and say, you know what? I know a lot more than everybody thinks.
Well, the thing with Cora was Cora didn't get his punishment yet, but you know what? So didn't the Red Sox. The Red Sox haven't got their punishment, but I think Major League Baseball
Let's
is
put
going
it
to
this
run
way. Baseball right now, this has got to be worse than
the steroid scandal.
the steroid scandal, the 94 strike, the White Sox scandal back in the day,
Yeah,
or the Black Sox scandal, whatever you want to call it.
this is a lot worse.
This is left another blemish on baseball. It's it's hard, and if you ever watch that special on the Expos, the Colorful Montreal Expos, you know that 94 strike destroyed that whole organization
It did.
because they had a whole brand new stadium getting ready to be built. People were dying in there, get that team going, and all of a sudden that was it for them. They were history because of that.
Yeah, they were the best team in the National League that
Now,
year.
what's
They
going to
were.
happen? You know, we kept joking around. I said, "Oh, maybe there's a camera in the train out in center field."
You don't know.
With the
That's
Expos.
right, that's right,
I
that's
mean,
right.
Astros. Now, what's going to happen before the season starts? They're going to go around to every ballpark. They're going to move rooms, get this video room out of here because the Red Sox moved theirs closer to the dugout.
Yep, that's right.
And something's going to happen. Things are going to change. You're not going to see all this technology anymore. You're not going to see these iPads in the dugout.
Oh, no.
No, no.
Your analytics just bit you all in the butt.
Done.
Finito.
Thank God.
Kamish,
Yeah, what's going on?
silent this whole time because you got a big smile on your face.
Oh, I'm just.
Why so
Soaking it
serious?
in.
I'm just soaking this all in and going, this is great. This is great. It's not great for baseball, but for a Yankee fan who just sat around and wasn't ready.
we got a phone call here. Phone call.
Hold on.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, it's Layla. Layla Wright. All right, so we'll put a hold on that. For everybody tuned in, listening, or watching on Facebook Live, I want to introduce and welcome our great guest tonight. It's Layla Wright, the executive director of the Miracle League of Milwaukee, my good friend. We
How are you? Yeah.
met a couple years ago, and we've been reconvening as we do these special events, these national events. And Layla agreed to come on the show tonight as we continue to do this series and bring some executive directors
Yes.
on each week. So, Layla, thank you for being on the show with us, and I promise we'll take it easy on you, but you can jump in too. You can put in your 2 cents on everything that you've been watching in the news this week in Major League Baseball. But before we get into that, why don't you take this time here and share with us your history with Miracle League of Milwaukee, how it came to be out there, and your role and everything that you've done with the Miracle League out there.
Sounds great. Well, thanks so much for having me, first of all, because let me tell you, this weather we're having here in Milwaukee right now is not anything that's desirable enough to want to do anything but talk about summer baseball. So really looking forward to warmer weather coming our way. So Miracle League of Milwaukee started in 2009. There's a fantastic group of people who got together. Somebody reached out from another Miracle League program out on the East Coast to a guy here in Milwaukee and said, do you want to donate to this program we're trying to get started out here? And he was like, well, of course, I'll donate, but tell me more. And then when he learned about Miracle League, he turned around to a couple of his good friends and said, we need to bring this program to Milwaukee. We need to do everything we can to make this an option for kids and young adults in the metro Milwaukee area. So a couple of fantastic folks put their fundraising power together and their brain power together and started down the path of exploring what it would take to bring Miracle League to Milwaukee. So our Miracle League program here is run through the YMCA of Metropolitan Milwaukee. So we are a signature program of the YMCA of Metropolitan Milwaukee. So 100% operated through the Y, which, around the country, Miracle Leagues are operated differently, but that's how we do it here. And that came about because these awesome folks said, we can raise the dollars, but we don't know how to run youth programming. And who does youth programming really, really well? The Y. So that's how our YMCA got involved. And then we had the space to build the complex as well. So we've been fully operational since 2011. We're really looking forward to our 9th season and building plans for a fantastic celebration for our 10th season in 2021. And, I got involved early on indirectly and then had the pleasure of taking over the program. I want to say this is going to be my 6th season directly. So, yeah, and we're constantly bringing new families into the fold and loving every minute of it.
How many active participants do you currently have in the league?
We have about 100. We've been, quote unquote, stuck at 100 for the last at least 3 years. We have a hard time expanding beyond that, just word of mouth. We get new kids every year and we lose kids for a variety of reasons every year.
Yeah, we're hovering. We're just over 100 participants. And I know you and I have talked offline about this a lot and how we're trying to expand and do more too. We had we had Timmy Gephardt on here 2 weeks ago from Pittsburgh, who I introduced you to when we were in Iowa back in September, and I'm kind of jealous. I mean, he's got like almost 300 kids in his league. I'm like, how the heck are you doing it? So yeah, it's absolutely amazing. So we're kind of setting our sights to try to get there too, and we're trying to get more involved with local PTAs and PTOs, going out and speaking at engagements. And we're actually next weekend going to be at an event, a Saturday event. We're going to be promoting in Hopewell, which is a town, one of our neighboring towns. They're going to be promoting a lot of summer camp options. So we're going to be out there talking about Miracle League, try to see if we can get some more people involved. But I mean, the great thing I've been telling these guys here is that, when we have the opportunity to meet and connect at these events, I met you in Minnesota. When we
Finley.
Finley. In Finley.
Yep.
In Finley, but then we also went out, to Minnesota.
Right.
When we were doing the tour of landscape structures, when we were out there. So, tell us what do you're coming up on 10 years, right? So you have anything special planned for 10 years and what you guys want to do moving forward? I know you have some things.
Well, yeah, I mean, we definitely are just starting some conversations right now of how can we make sure that there's access for all? How can we make sure that every child and adult that wants a recreational, diverse ability sports program has the opportunity to participate? And that's our biggest challenge, is how do we get the word out that this exists? Because every parent I talk to that comes to us for the first time ever said, I didn't know you were here. I didn't know that this was an option for my child. So we've done, we do TV spots, we've done billboards on the freeway, we do the grassroots efforts, but we still aren't reaching as many people as want the opportunity.
Well, that's why we have Dan here and all the Miracle Leagues calling in, because like he said, it's one family, one league, and we want to thank you for calling in. Spread the word, and hopefully one day we can all come out there and join in and help out.
That'd be nice.
Mrs. Wright,
that would be fantastic.
Mrs. Wright, thanks for being on the show tonight. This is Carl McGlasky calling. Actually not calling, but talking to you. Now, you've been with the league for 10 years, and you've been averaging about 100 kids per season. Now, did you start with the 100 kids your first year, or was it a little less than that? Can you give us the answer, please?
Yeah, it was definitely less. We've built up to that. We did a soft opening the first year when we just had a field before we had our playground, and really just did kind of a mini condensed season, and then have built up from there. So we run with 10 teams.
Okay.
And 10 kids per team. And we know some leagues go up to 12 kids per team, but we've had a hard time keeping kids engaged in the outfield specifically when there's too many bodies going through the batting order. So we keep our roster sizes a little bit smaller. It keeps the kids more engaged. And we're playing because we're in Wisconsin, so we are limited to a summer season, and we play weeknights in the summer and do doubleheaders 3 nights a week.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty terrific.
Where exactly in Milwaukee are you located? So everybody knows
We
where
are
they
on-
can reach you.
Yeah, we are on the very northwest side of Milwaukee. In fact, less than a half a mile down the street, we're in a completely different county. So we're in the very northwest corner of Milwaukee County, as far north as you can possibly get.
Oh, wow.
Can you because I've watched a lot of the video and the pictures and the stuff that you guys have posted, and I'm actually, we talked about it last year. I was going to try to sneak up, but I'm planning on coming out this summer. I want to come see you guys up there. Tell us about your facility, the field you have, the playground. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's beautiful. I love it.
It really is. We're kind of in a unique setting because, one of the objectives of Miracle League, as we all know, is to have kids playing baseball like their peers. And that's probably the one drawback that we have to our complex, is that we're not in a baseball environment. But that being said, it's all ours. We don't have to deal with anybody else and parking spots and bathrooms and concession stands. It's all our facility. So we have, we've got a beautiful field in a wooded backdrop in the outfield behind the fence. It's all trees. So if somebody hits a dinger over the fence, and we're sending a volunteer over to go get the ball. So going on a ball hunt in the woods. Deer roam through our property. We've got wild turkeys that are always, which sounds strange, right, for being in the city of Milwaukee, but it's on a 40-acre parcel.
Well, those turkeys must have flew over from Jersey, because we got a lot out here.
Yeah, we certainly do. And in fact, one day last summer, a turkey was going up to a tree to nest for the night and flew right over the bleachers, right over all the parents. And I think everybody was oohing and ahhing over seeing the turkey fly and forgot what was happening on the field.
It was chasing a fly ball.
It was, yep, exactly.
Now,
it was pretty fun.
Leah, let me ask you a question. Do the Milwaukee Brewers know what's about you guys?
Oh, they certainly do. We are very fortunate to have a great relationship with the Brewers.
Great.
We have great support from the Brewers Community Foundation. We have great support from the marketing department, comes out and volunteers for us every summer. And we get past and present player support as well when we host our statewide well, we try to host a statewide, but it tends to be more local, all-star event.
Well, you know what? I was thinking of something because my relatives do the stadium tours. They'll hit. I think we should do a Miracle League tour, all of us, and see how many
I
we
think
can
that's
hit.
fabulous.
And
That'd
we'll
be nice.
definitely have Milwaukee on the map as well as we're going to Pittsburgh and probably Planet. Is it? What they saying something in Houston? Houston.
Yeah.
Now, are you a Milwaukee fan?
I am a Brewer fan, that's for sure.
Uh-oh. Here he goes. Go ahead. You gonna ask us something about the Bruins?
No, I'm just wondering. That's all.
What's his name? Who? He missed the
Ryan
tag.
Braun?
He missed the tag.
Layla, this is Matt Sirianni talking right now. Thank you so much for being on the show. I just have one little question. This involves what's been in the news lately. How would you feel if one of your teams from Miracle League happened to steal signs?
Well, that actually would be a miracle.
I can tell you right now, it would be Hunter Peterson if anybody wants to do it. And Hunter's got some great local celebrity power going right now, so I don't think anybody would really complain.
Can you talk more about Hunter? I know because we've talked about it and you've shared it, but and it's been on Facebook too. But can you tell anybody like who's watching the show or the guys here in the studio that don't know about Hunter and his story with the Bucks?
Sure, yeah, definitely. Hunter's been with us since our first season. So, and he was one of our 2 All-Star athletes this last year that went to Sioux City. And Hunter's just one of those larger-than-life personalities. He's a senior at one of the top high schools in the state.
Wow.
He's well loved by every person that the kid meets. And he decided last year that he wanted to try out for the Milwaukee Bucks hype team.
Okay.
And his parents were fully supportive. You know, Hunter, this is what you want to do. He loves to sing and dance. He loves to jump around. He loves to get a crowd fired up. So Hunter took some hip-hop classes, and then he went to the tryout, and he made the hype squad.
Nice.
All
Nice.
on his own power.
Nice,
and the Bucks have
good.
hired him,
Good.
which is awesome.
You got
And so
to see.
he's been working all these Bucks games.
Yeah, you got to see the Greek
and-
Freak.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
nice.
a few weeks before Christmas, was that before? It was right between Thanksgiving and Christmas. He was at a game. He was done with his duties, and was up close to the court. And Giannis at the end of the game gave him his shoes, his game-worn shoes.
Nice.
And it just blew up on
That's
social
nice.
media. Just completely blew up. I mean, ESPN was retweeting it.
Nice.
Everybody under the sun was sharing these photos and videos of Hunter.
Awesome.
And it's his personality that draws out, the love for him. So I had the fortune of Miracle League being the nonprofit of the game for our Milwaukee Wave, which is the professional indoor soccer league. So the Milwaukee Wave on New Year's Eve did do a nonprofit of the game, and then somebody from our organization got to kick out the first ball. Well, who do I ask? Hunter, of course, because in a stadium full of people, Hunter's going to put on a show. So we're standing there at midfield, and all Hunter was supposed to do was pass the ball to one of the Wave players that was standing 10 yards away from him. Well, Hunter doesn't do small gestures. Hunter goes big or he goes home. So he took off dribbling and dribbled down to the goal and took a shot. And all the players are like, what's happening? We've never had this happen before. And the camera guy's going with it and running, and he's up on the, on the Jumbotron, and the crowd just loved it and cheered him on.
Awesome.
So instead of kicking out the first ball of the game, Hunter scored the first goal of the game.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was
It was great.
It was a pleasure meeting him. He's such a great kid, and he makes some interesting points too. Some great points, talking about how you have the Bucks and you have the Brewers that are very involved and they're very, they're philanthropic. They give back. Talk about, because I know this is something that we're trying to do with our league. Just as we continue to grow, we're obviously reaching out more into the community for support, and I know you guys do a lot the same. Again, we've talked a lot about this, you and I. What are those efforts? What are those things that you guys do in Milwaukee to fundraise, to reach out, to get some community support, volunteerism? How does that all come together for you guys up there?
Yeah, well, I think the most important thing, and I think, Dan, you know this too from your work through the Y and other program areas, is it's all about relationships, right? I mean, it's relationships with your donors, it's relationships with your families, and it's relationships with your volunteers. We are so lucky. You hit the nail on the head when you said it in Milwaukee, because not only do we have all these professional sports organizations, we also have Marquette University, and we've got University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and then we've got a plethora of smaller universities and colleges too. So even though we play in the summer, Marquette has athletes coming into town to run their basketball camps and their volleyball camps and their soccer camps. And the kids who are coming to take summer classes before they enter the university as freshmen. So they bring those athletes out to us to volunteer because they want something for them to do at night,
That's
not
great.
getting into trouble.
Yeah, right.
So our athletes get to see these local youth organizations that come and volunteer, so softball teams, and we have a field hockey club that comes out to us every summer, and baseball teams and softball teams and soccer teams that all come and volunteer, and then they get to see the college athletes, and then they get to see the professional athletes.
Nice.
So they see the full progression from recreational to competitive to collegiate to professional, and it's such a cool opportunity for them. But it really is all about those relationships and developing relationships with not just the leaders of those groups, but the volunteers themselves, so that they're wanting to come back even when they're no longer affiliated with the organization.
Right. I think you would agree too, right? You've seen it plenty of times when you have these volunteers come out for the first time. Once they come out, they do automatically want to come back.
That's exactly right. Yep. The first time they might be a little nervous and apprehensive.
Yeah.
But then it's very rare that we have a one-time only volunteer. Most people come at least twice.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And wish it could be more.
I sometimes there's a lot that I'm thankful for in running Miracle League, and I think Andy would feel the same too. But just to see when you see people coming together and you see the smiles on the faces, it makes all the difference.
Completely. And the parents, when you see that shine in those parents' eyes as they're sitting in the bleachers watching their child do something that they never knew that they'd have the opportunity to do, it's magic.
That's the perfect word. I love that. Magic. It really is magic.
Yeah.
Sal over here was crying like a baby the first time he
was.
came out.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. But it's very touching.
It's fantastic.
It's hard to tear yourself away.
It's a great cause.
Yes, it is. And that's why I got the guys up here, and we're going to continue to knock on doors until somebody answers.
So really important question for you, because we're about 3.5 weeks out from spring training.
Oh,
How do you feel? How do you feel about the Brewers off season?
Well, I'm getting a little nervous about a certain left-handed reliever closer.
You might be coming over this way.
Getting a little nervous. I mean, we've had some opportunities to have some really fantastic interactions with the Brewers, like I said. And a couple years ago during the Fan Fest weekend, we did a Build-A-Bear workshop, and that certain left-handed closer happened to be greeting every single person as they walked into the entrance of that Build-A-Bear workshop, and just really, you never would have known that he's the athlete that he is with the way he was just on for every single one of those kids. So not just from a nervous fan perspective, but from we love the support for Miracle League too.
Sure.
But gotta say, super happy about Sogard coming back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Moustakas kind of hurt a little bit, huh?
Yeah, that one's a bit of a downer.
Here's a question
And
for you.
Cincinnati of all teams, the Reds.
Here's a good one for you. Milwaukee used to be an original American League team. Did you understand that switch? Did you like the switch, or did you like seeing the Yankees and everybody else coming into town?
Well, I was gone from the area for quite a while.
Okay.
Went to college in West Central Illinois, so nothing in West Central Illinois, and so removed from baseball for quite a while. When I left, Miller Park was a brand new stadium.
Okay.
When I came back, it was County Stadium was long gone, and people.
Those were the days with Paul Molitor and Robin Yount and those guys,
Yeah.
man. That was a
Exactly.
great team. I mean, those days when they were in the American League, And I was at Yankee Stadium in '81 during the strike season playoffs when they played the Brewers. That was great.
Now, where you went to college in Western Illinois, is that Cub country?
There's a lot of Cub fans and there's a lot of Cardinal fans.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Oh,
Cardinal
wow.
fans.
Wow.
That's weird. Where
A lot.
where fans are. It's like you just don't get like with football and baseball here. It's crazy. You'll get a lot of Dolphin fans out here, Oakland Raiders,
Charger
Cowboys.
fans.
The Cowboy fans is what I don't understand here in New
That
Jersey.
makes no
I don't
sense
get it.
to
The
me.
Cowboy
I do
fans
not
don't.
Oh,
understand the
Rams
logo.
or whatever it is. And now with the Raiders
Yeah.
going out to Vegas and all this other stuff, it's
Oh,
crazy.
boy.
So.
But
When I played soccer in college, and when I was there, the Rams had their training camp
Oh,
on
wow.
our campus, and they would sleep in our dorms, and they would be on our practice fields.
What's going
So
on?
I not much of a Rams fan.
I hope you told them. No.
Oh, that's great.
That's great. A lot of good stuff, with Miracle League and the show. When we're gonna hope to venture out there and meet everybody.
When does your
That
when,
works.
does, when does your season start, Layla?
We start June 15th, or the
Oh.
week of June 15th.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
we pretty
'Cause
much we wrap up that week, so maybe we'll take a weekend trip. We'll
Okay.
fly
Yeah.
out.
Perfect.
We'll run a bus.
Yeah,
We
the
got it.
kids get out of school the week before that, so we time it
That's
so
perfect.
that as soon as they're done, we start and there's no overlap.
Oh, that's interesting. Very
Perfect.
good. Now,
Yep.
what is it? A
Better
2-hour time
participation.
difference out there?
What's that?
What's the time difference out there? 2
hour.
hours?
Just an
One.
hour.
An
An hour,
hour.
yeah.
Central
1
Time.
hour, that's it.
Okay. I got to get used to that. I went to Vegas. I was all screwed up. I was like, what's
Yeah,
going on here?
Vegas is 2.
Oh, boy.
It's still, but it's a 5-hour flight.
Any of the rest of you guys have questions?
Anybody
for
else with a
Layla?
question?
Cap, you have anything?
No.
Anyone?
Layla, thanks so much for
you,
calling in
Layla.
and talking
Yeah,
to us
let's
for a
hear
little
it
bit.
for Layla.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for having me. It's always a lot of fun to connect with other people and talk Miracle League and talk baseball. So
Awesome.
even
Yeah,
though
no.
it's 12 degrees outside.
Well, it's
not much
so good.
warmer
Yeah,
here.
it's not much warmer here, yeah.
It's not much warmer in this building.
Ugh, all right.
Well, thanks so much,
Well,
and
hopefully,
Thanks, Layla. Have a blessed
Take
evening.
care.
Thank you.
sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
all right,
bye-bye.
we'll
Bye-bye.
talk soon. Take care.
Have a good one.
All right. Let's get back to the scandal because
Oh
all of
boy.
us who played ball here when we were young, if we were standing out on second base, we would try to look at the catcher. We always knew one was a fastball,
Yeah.
2 was a curve. Who knew what 3 was back in the day? Now, if you notice, I got to stand up. I'm not taking my shirt off again. So, if you notice,
we wanna
here's
want you to.
shortstop, Here's a second baseman and shortstop, and they would do this with their gloves. They would look over at each other, and they would call out the pitch, and the guys would move over a step or 2 to the other side of the infield.
Yeah, but that was a visual thing to tell people what's coming.
Yeah, but that's-
this is decoding signs to cheat, essentially.
But that's considered cheating, wasn't it?
And actually, this is something I saw earlier today on the Michael K show, and I thought this was really, really interesting.
Who's worse, him or Joe Buck?
I think Joe Buck. But the point being, is that on the Michael K show, I saw something very, very interesting. A burner account on Twitter that was supposedly Carlos Beltran's niece.
I looked her up. It's a fake account.
It's a fake account. It's a burner account, is what it's called.
Yeah.
But there were pictures, and the Twitter account, before it was put on private, there were pictures of Jose Altuve and Alex Bregman with buzzers on their shoulders that would buzz and give signals as to what was coming. There were pictures that were given out on the
Were
Yes
they
Network.
photoshopped or were they
At
real?
no, they look legitimate to me. It was at Baseballography. I think that account's private, but I got pictures on my phone. I wish you could put them up on screen for people to show. But the account showed pictures of Jose Altuve with something popping out of his jersey, and there's a little bit of a circle that will show it. And then same thing with Alex Bregman after the 2017 World Series. Now supposedly they kind of passed off as, oh, maybe it was confetti. That ain't confetti.
Well, they showed Altuve rounding home.
It was him rounding.
Also, that's the thing.
After
So there
the
was a video
Chapman
saying,
home
"Don't take off
run
my shirt."
this past year, holding his jersey
Yeah.
like this, telling people not to rip it.
And he said that his wife told him, "Don't let him take off your shirt." But here's the thing: in that moment, you just hit a walk-off grand slam to take you to the World Series, and the only thing you're thinking about is, "Don't take off my shirt." Come on.
That's suspicious.
It's
Seriously.
the most suspicious thing you could ever look at. It drives me nuts. And I mean, come on. I mean,
And of course, you're going to get your haters.
Well-
Oh, why don't they check the Yankees? Oh, Gio Scheller and what's his name had a breakout year.
Now there were about 5 million Yankee fans, myself included, who were watching that game, and we all turned and we looked at the TV and we looked at Chapman smirking as he walked off that field, and we went, why is this guy smirking?
He basically laughed.
He knew. He probably he laughed because he's sitting there and he's going, they knew.
Get that.
All these guys knew that they were cheating.
Do you think Aroldis Chapman was one of the first people to report this?
No, and that's the thing. He's just sitting there looking. He got me. I threw. I mean, and they were talking, and I was on this on Michael Kay earlier today. They were talking about in the interview afterwards. He's going, well, I'm sitting on the fastball. So if you're sitting on 100-mile-an-hour fastball, if you're sitting on the 100-mile-an-hour fastball,
and he missed the last couple of them, didn't he?
And you're absolutely 100% timing locked in on a flat 84-mile-an-hour slider.
Yeah.
Somebody's telling you that pitch is coming.
Exactly. That's really
Wasn't
good
he down
evidence.
0-2?
It was 1-2.
It was 1-2 when he
He was down in the count.
He's down the count. So that makes it even worse. So you think he's going to protect and choke up and maybe just poke it into right field. No, he's taking a huge hack and leaning back and getting.
We know everybody out there wants to dial in at 609-807-2492.
We would love to get your opinion.
We would like to get anybody's opinion.
Please call into the show. But here's the thing: this is with the Bonds thing now. Yeah, he was jacked, but he still had to hit the ball. So you can't give Altuve. You have to give Altuve credit. You still could have missed a pitch.
Well, let's put it this way.
But
what about Bartolo Colon? He regulated his blood. Is that cheating too?
Carl, can I just say something? So we talked about the steroid era last week on the show, and we talked about the comparison of this league, this era, and the steroid era. The difference between the steroid era and this era, it's simple. And I mentioned this before we went on the air. If you're taking steroids, it doesn't make you hit. It doesn't improve your batting average. It just makes you bigger and stronger, and it makes you hit the ball deeper. When you know what's coming, with something buzzing on your shoulder, and you're decoding signs as to what's coming to try to improve your batting average.
Now here's the thing. Don't give me now. I'm a Philly fan. We didn't do nothing. Now are you more pissed because your team was in the playoffs?
Are you sure?
Your team was in the playoffs. If your team wasn't in the playoffs, do you think you would care that much?
No. Because you got to remember, the Yankees weren't the only team to complain. The Dodgers complained, and I think the Tampa Bay Rays complained also.
No offense.
Somebody else came out. Who's Mike Friars?
Mike Fears was a pitcher on the Houston Astros in 2017.
He's the one who dropped the ball.
That's the thing. But here's the thing, though. I understand it, but if you were a Yankee fan, will you still feel the way you are now?
Well, as a baseball fan, you gotta be pretty upset about this.
But here's the thing, dude. I don't want to cut you off, but everybody cheats. You cheat. If you don't try to cheat, you don't try to win. That's part of every sport, dude.
That's why the Mets are so bad, because we don't cheat. That's
what it is.
Honest people.
Honestly, everybody tries to.
We lose before we know
this way.
it.
Some people
what made it worse is
some people get caught.
Gambling's legal.
Some people get caught,
Now they get
and other people do not get caught. They just got caught.
Here's the thing I'm going to say. If you're comparing the steroid era to this, there are guys that did human growth hormone. They did the cream and the clear and all that, but they did that for their own competitive advantage.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Now, what about some guys may
it was
have
an
medical
individual
conditions and
effort.
injuries where they had to take it?
Well, true, but my point I'm making here is when you do the sign stealing and you go to the lengths of using technology, you're taking away any advantage or any competitive edge for the pitcher.
Well, the
pitcher
technology
literally has nothing. At this point, there is absolutely nothing that the pitcher can do in that pitcher versus hitter scenario. They can't do anything to combat that. At least in the steroid era, if the batter's going to do the steroids, then the pitcher's going to do the steroids. And then maybe it evens out.
Now, what they should do...
Because Clemens did it.
Yeah, now, but what they should do is this. They should...
Pet it.
What they should do is this. They should have them testify and take a lie detector test. If the guys who supposedly cheated, if they did wrong, they get suspended. Yeah. They shouldn't let them get off the free hook.
It's not. This ain't over yet. This is going to continue until.
It's going to keep going.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what should happen.
This is going to be a long-going debate.
Well, hold on, if I'm wrong, I don't know. Didn't they go to the stadium in Houston and check?
Well, so there's a thing. So apparently there was an investigation done tonight.
Oh boy!
And it said there was no evidence No evidence. MLB found no evidence to substantial allegations of Astros using electronic devices
I don't
that
care.
notified
No,
them of
that's-
certain pitches.
That makes no sense. That makes
They got no proof on that.
that makes
Well, what I think. What I
Check
think
that train out in the outfield.
Like they were saying,
The guy was-
Rob Manfred knows.
yes.
Yeah.
This extensive investigation they did, they know, and they're probably covering up some things because
Okay,
at this point it gets really deep.
I was watching something with all the baseball cheats on YouTube,
Yeah.
and
What happened there?
Chris Sabo was up,
Okay.
fouled off a couple of pitches, hits one, slices his bat, and his bat was clocked. Remember all those?
Do you guys still do
days?
that?
Clogging bats and the George Brett Pine
George
tar.
Brett Pine tar.
Come on, callers. We want to hear your opinion. And before we go any further with this,
Yeah.
let's take it on the two Philly fans here and
30 for 30.
with 30 for 30 round two. And Joe G coming to Philly, guys. Let me hear it. And with Sir Didi and all you, what you got?
You heard me for the past couple weeks talk about it. I'll pass to my friend here.
Let's hear it. Speaking to that mic. Let's go.
All right.
That's a great hire. He's going to do well there, and he's got a difficult task ahead. They're not looking good. They didn't do enough in the off season, and they're up against the luxury tax, and you're not going to see them do much more. So they didn't fill the holes that they needed to fill. They've got a number 4 and 5 spot in the starting rotation. No starter there, no third baseman, and I think they're in trouble.
What have I been telling you since the Winnings have been off
You're
the
right.
air?
You're right.
No, they're not doing nothing. Mr. Casey said he likes with what we got with Wheeler and Didi coming over, but
Yeah.
we still don't have no third baseman. We have
Well, look what Girardi did when he was a Yankee manager.
Correct.
He took some
Correct.
of these pitchers who they have now that were practically
correct,
nothing. And
but
Chad
here's
Green and all these.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. We don't like. We're gonna use basically like we were talking on the way over here. Noah maybe the 1, Wheeler 2, maybe Eflin 3, Arrieta 4. We have no 5 because Eichhoff got signed. Velasquez is 5-inning Vinny. He can't throw nothing, and our other guy.
Yeah, but that
Vetta's
was
a head case.
well,
Pavetta-
that was then. This is now. This is a whole different ballgame with a
Don't you have
with a brand
Vargas
new
still?
manager like that.
No, we didn't resign
Did
him.
you resign him?
We didn't resign him. We let Smiley walk, and
That's
yeah,
right.
we don't even know what's up with. Am I still on? I think I'm off.
Yeah, you're on. You're on.
All
You're
right.
on. You're on.
We still don't know what's up with the bullpen because Dominguez is out half the year with Tommy John, and supposedly maybe Robinson may be back from the UCL injury.
And
So-
you couldn't get Dylan Matanzas in the offseason, which I think was huge because Girardi was high on bringing him over to Philly.
yeah, he went to the Mets. So
Let's go Mets.
Yeah, so if anybody has anything to talk about Phillies, about what we need to do or anything, give us a call, 609-807-2492. But we resigned Andrew Knapp. He's a Mendoza 200 backup catcher. That don't help us.
You still got you got to ride out Bryce Harper for 12 seasons. Maybe he bounces back because the Phillies underachieved. They were supposed to. I remember they were supposed to win the division with everything, with all the signings that they got,
Yeah, but
and
look
they
what-
finished 500.
Well, look what happened with the Braves.
That
They
was
came out of nowhere.
They did.
They came out of
Atlanta
nowhere,
came
but then
out of
they
nowhere.
collapsed in the worst possible time.
Right now, they're going to be the same thing, maybe 500 with what they have now. They got to do some more work.
Well,
Somewhere between third
yeah.
and fourth place.
It's still early yet. You know, there's still a lot of unsigned free agents out there. I don't know who's left. There's still, I mean, Betts signed a deal back with the Red Sox, and Bryant signed I guess that was all salary arbitration.
Josh Donaldson also
That
signed
was,
with
that
recently.
was that
Yes,
was
he got
a shock.
Yeah, 4 years, 96. No, 4 years,
92 million.
92 million with the Twins.
I didn't
23
think he
million a
would go
year
to
for a guy
Milwaukee.
who's 34
bad
years
contract.
old.
Milwaukee, Minnesota. I thought he was going to stay in the National League
That's a
and
horrible
go either
contract.
back to
I don't
Atlanta
like
or
it.
go to the Nationals.
I really was expecting him to go back to Atlanta. I thought he was.
That's what I thought. I figured, well, they
So
got
now what Atlanta may do is they might try to do a sign-in trade with the Cubs for Chris Bryant.
That's
We're
right.
talking about that. Maybe
Wow.
him or Arenado. I don't see Arenado leaving Colorado because
Well, I heard the Cardinals that is steaming up with those talks with him.
Because
going
you
down.
have- why
that would
would
be
it-
it.
why
The Cardinals have been sneaking around, man. They don't want to be quiet anymore. It's been like 3 years.
Because
That's a
why-
long time for them.
Why are you going to rip apart Arenado, Blackman, and Trevor Story?
Look where they're playing. We could all go out there and hit 40 home runs.
The West thing, all you got to do is maybe you don't know what's up with the Dodgers. Maybe you could get a wild card, but Dodgers is underachieved. You don't know what's up with them.
Well, look at
You know?
look what happened to Atlanta. They made one World Series. They won all those division titles. The Dodgers are doing the same exact thing.
And then they go to the playoffs and they get crushed 10-0 at the end of one inning.
Oh, that was brutal.
That was bad. That was brutal.
Now, what do you do with a good pitcher like Clayton Kershaw, who's been there, and he's been the guy that's been getting batted around with these losses?
He has no record in the playoffs at this point. I mean, he has
neither
nothing to
does
hang his hat
Beltran.
on.
Except for 2006 when he struck out with the bases
06.
loaded.
Oh, there it is.
I was actually working that game.
So we do have a couple comments from a friend of ours, Rob, who has been a loyal follower on the show. He's commenting. He says, "Look out for Bochy or Awesomus to take over as the Astros manager."
Okay.
He's throwing that out there.
It's a good name.
And he said, so his question is, if the buzzers are a real thing from the 2019 season, what punishment do we think these players should get?
Honestly, I think it bugs me a lot that the players were protected from this whole scandal. Like, it's literally because of the Players Association and the Players Union that players aren't being disciplined. And honestly, they benefited from the whole sign stealing scandal as much as managers did. And in a statement that was made by MLB, by the Major League Baseball about the Astros players, they said that the Astro players, they knew what they were doing was wrong. But apparently, A.J. Hinch never told them to quote-unquote stop. But then again, another article, I think it was another baseball article, maybe it was the New York Times, that said A.J. Hinch did say clearly, stop, stop, stop. But then what also was funny, it's the fact that in September of 2017, back when the Astros were kicking butt at home and they were on their way to being the best team in baseball, Rob Manfred even made an announcement and said sign stealing will not be tolerated, and they continued doing it. And they did it in the playoffs, and look where it got them.
By the way, did anyone see the splits on the statistics
Yes,
from
on
that
MLB.
series?
Yes.
From the Yankee Astros 7-game series?
Yeah.
6-4,
It's
8-0. Yeah,
disgusting.
it's bad.
Disgusting.
Yankees killed them when they were at
They
home.
went to
against
New York, and the Yankees won 3 in a row and just murdered them and ripped them apart.
Yep.
And then went back to Houston and grinded it out. I mean, they got blown out in Game 7,
Yeah.
but Games 1, 2, and 6 were tight.
One of the games, I think, ended in 2-1.
Cole wasn't with them until last year, right?
No, he was with them in 2018.
In 18, not in 17.
Okay.
No, he was still with the Pirates at the time. So that actually makes it really, really interesting. That's a good point because, if you're barely beating a team like the Yankees and you obviously have some type of advantage against you, and I think there was footage of replaying, when Aroldis Chapman got grand slammed by Jose Altuve. You heard a trash can in the background, so it was blatantly obvious what was going
Well,
on.
they did say in the World Series video they heard a lot of
Yeah.
noise as well.
That's good. That's a good point. That's a really, really good point. But you gotta think, like, if any team tries to do this, stealing signs again, I think this whole punishment, this whole fiasco, like
No,
three teams are looking for a manager now.
Like we said, they're going to go around to each stadium. Things are going to be different. I think, in my opinion, get rid of replay altogether now. Because if you notice on Diamond Vision, as we used to call it back in the day,
Okay.
the big scoreboards, they'll show you the replay, and oh, is that the pitch I missed? These batters, even if you look, when a batter strikes out, if you notice when they're walking back to the dugout, they'll go like this.
That's right.
They'll look at the scoreboard and see the pitch that he struck out on
Uh-huh.
and where it was. So they're picking it up from all angles.
I don't think replay is ever going to go anywhere.
You don't need replay. They want to speed up the game.
Yeah.
But the only thing they should replay is the home run calls. That's about it.
That's
Good luck
really
in
it.
there. And that's it. I mean, how much more could you possibly do and get away with? They got to do something before the season starts, because if they don't, it's like, what's going to happen?
Well, right now, apparently MLB is running an investigation on the 2018 Red Sox that won the World Series, and I would imagine you should get this done by March before the regular season starts.
Yeah, they got to wrap this up quick.
They got to wrap this up
Yeah,
quick
they gotta-
because you do not want this going on during the season.
No, that's why they're getting it done now.
So that investigation is going on right now. As far as what kind of punishment the Red Sox get, I mean, depending on what type of evidence you get, they might get the same thing that the
Did you-
Astros got. A little slap in the wrist type of, $6 million fine, and they might lose a couple draft picks. But what really annoys me is that, owners don't really get the blame for it too, because Jim Crane knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So owners are protected, players are protected. So it all comes down to management and general management. But there's got to be like some sort of balance, because you mentioned the 1919 Black Sox scandal. When the manager of that team knew that the White Sox were trying to lose games intentionally, and players were even banned.
Okay, now that you said that, who said Pete Rose was gambling? Who ratted him out? So what that man accomplished on the field shouldn't have nothing to do with what he did off the field, because there will never be another player that almost got 5,000 hits. Nobody in this world.
No one's going to even come close to
Who's
his
going
record.
to come close to that man? Who should be in the Hall of Fame? And they're saying unless he, unfortunately, leaves the cert, that's the only time he's going to get in.
He will get in, but
which
that's
I
one of
think,
the-
unfortunately, is BS. But the man deserves it, and he's probably at home, sitting home right now, laughing at everything that's going on.
He is. He probably is laughing right now, because what's going on right now is absolutely absurd.
Did he comment? Did he come out on Monday and say something when
I
this all?
think he did. I didn't get to read it.
I didn't
I
either.
don't know he did.
I don't say anything now.
It's going to change. It's going to change the game big time. It really is.
Now, I want to talk to Andy for a little bit, because we touched upon the Mets a little bit. Yeah, Andy, you had a feeling this was coming. How much of a setback do you think this is for your New York Mets, the fact that your manager is gone?
So, I honestly, like I said earlier, I don't think it's much of a setback. Yes, it sucks not having a manager, but again, we know who Brody is, the kind of person he is. So, I think he's okay with it for now. I think he's going to fill the gap for a little bit. I do think Collins is going to make a comeback. I'm convinced. As far as setback, I mean, we still had a really good offseason, I should think. We have a really nice bullpen. We got a little more bats going on. So, as far as the setback, I don't think much. It's just that we don't have someone leading the charge now, which kind of stinks. But I think that's hopefully an easy fix. I assume that the Mets had a backup plan. Again, I assume, but
there's still a
it's
lot
not
of good
very
managers
likely.
out there.
Exactly. There's still Showalter,
I don't think Buck is going to go anywhere. Buck is Buck. He's not going to listen to nobody. Dusty Baker's still out there.
Dusty Baker.
Dusty Baker was underrated in a couple of years.
Josh Gibbons, I think, was mentioned also with Houston. I think he's going there.
Matt Qualakimo, who's the bench coach for the Tampa Bay Rays, is also out there.
Right.
I think there was a bench coach for, I think the Red Sox bench coach who could speak 5 different languages.
Well, don't forget, Bam Bam was considered by the Yankees before they had Aaron Boone.
That's true.
So you never know.
So I have a trivia question because I'm curious now. Has this ever happened before where a brand new manager never manages even a spring training game before the season starts?
There is one.
Who was it?
Ooh.
Does anyone know?
No.
2004, Wally Backman.
Oh yeah, for the Mets.
No. 2004, he was hired by the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
4 days later, was fired because he lied in his interview.
Jeez.
They found out he lied in his interview, and they
What
canned
lie
him.
about?
Some sort of legal issue.
What about Wally World coming to Shea? City Field, whatever you want to call that state.
It'll always be Shea Stadium.
Well, you talk about lying. I don't know if you guys were aware of this. Apparently, Carlos Beltran was asked by a media reporter before the whole scandal came out. A media reporter named Joel, I forget what his last name was. He asked Carlos about the scandal, if it was true or legitimate, and Carlos lied.
Oh, Joel Sherman.
Joel Sherman, yeah, exactly. So he lied to Joel, saying, "Oh, this scandal didn't happen. I wasn't taking part in this." But the fact that the Mets didn't ask, I'm going to say this again, the fact that the Mets literally didn't ask Carlos about the scandal when this was going on,
Because it wasn't a Met issue.
it's absurd. Like, I don't care if it's not a Mets issue. He was a player that was involved, and his name was mentioned in a document right when the allegations were reported. So the Mets should have said something. The fact that they didn't say anything, the fact that they didn't interview him, it makes the organization look bad because you essentially let a cheater wander freely, and you had to rely on the media to come to a decision to fire him. That's ridiculous.
Well, A-Rod lied to Mike Francesa when he asked him about the steroid thing.
And he didn't even get asked. He ran to the studio. He ran to WFAN
Right.
so he can sit down with Francesa. That was terrible.
But like that's really like, well, with a player it's one thing. With a manager it's a completely different thing. Cuz a manager runs the team.
There's no managers nowadays in baseball.
but
They don't run the
it's-
team anymore.
It's not just the manager; it's the owner who hires these managers.
Well,
It's the owner to the general manager to the manager to the players.
I think, Andy, to your point, I mean, you look at it, there's no Tony La Russa's left. There's no Mike Socha's.
No Joe Torres of the
Tony
world.
Joe
No.
Torre is what, in the front office now with the Angels, helping out there with Joe
The
Madden.
closest thing to an old school manager at this point in this league
Who's Joe Girardi?
is Joe Girardi.
That's it.
Well, Mike
That's
Socha
it.
is still open. He didn't get no job. So
I don't think he will. These guys are not looking for a manager who has their own brain and their own
they
free
don't
will.
want the old school managers.
They don't want that.
They want the analytics guy, who I think now is going to be out the window because now they're saying, "Now wait a minute."
Well, the irony is the Phillies, they went for that with Kapler and it failed miserably, and now they've reacted in the reverse and they said, well, now we need to get a guy who's going to control the dugout and have get these guys together and actually manage.
Girardi's going to turn that team around.
He absolutely is. They're
Philly-
going to win at least 5 more games.
You're not going to see the same Bryce Harper as you did last year.
No.
No.
He's going to set. And the first, I remember the press conference. They asked him, "Where's Didi going to hit?" He said maybe 4th, 5th,
Yeah.
possible 3rd. I would hit. Who's your leadoff man? Who do they got?
they're gonna do McCutcheon.
Cutchin.
I would do him and then Didi right after him, and then throw Hopper 3rd.
I would do Didi second too.
Like he did with the Yankees. Everybody thinks Jeter always. Jeter was a leadoff hitter before he fell into the 2-hole.
That's right.
He started.
That's right.
He started as a
I think
leadoff.
Yeah, I
they should
remember
do
that.
this. I think they're going to do this. Kutch lead off, Segura 2,
Then Didi and Hopper,
no, Harp 3,
and then Didi.
Harp 3, Hoskins 4, Realmuto 5, Didi 6.
That's not a bad lineup either. He's got so many possibilities. Girardi, he could go back.
Really
and forth.
good. That's a good lineup. That's a pretty good lineup.
It's a good lineup. You just need, like he said, they need the pitching help. I don't know how many free agents are out there still. I know there's a bundle left,
There's still a couple.
and we'll touch upon that next week, which is the 1-year anniversary of the show. I started last year, and I want to thank Gene, Ruben, and Monk back there, and all the other shows, Jerry, Danny, and all of them. And we're going to have a 1-year bash next week.
That's gonna be
And
great.
we got to get back to how many free agents are left, because I think there's a lot of pitchers still out there. There's a lot of guys who haven't signed yet.
There's a lot we can talk about next week too. Because remember,
Who's what?
we have Hall of Fame announcement coming up next week as well.
You know what?
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah,
The
we
Hall of
talked
Fame
about that.
class is revealed.
Tuesday?
That's Tuesday.
I'm
That's on
going to ask
Tuesday.
if I could do a special and run in here in the afternoon and do that.
I would like that. I think that's great. And
We also have my buddy Gary Leonardo next week, and your buddy Matt Sweeney from the Rebels.
Yes, yeah, it's gonna be a good show next week. We have Meredith Silcox, the executive director of the Miracle League of Houston, which is the host of the 2020 the 2020 Miracle League All-Star Weekend down in Houston, Texas. They're going to be hosting. It's going to be awesome.
The years and days are flying.
They're all flying by.
they really do fly
I can't
by.
get that. Every time you say Houston, if you watch Superman 2,
Never
Yes.
thought.
okay, you know what I'm
Well,
talking
come
about.
on, classic. Christopher Reeve.
With
Come on.
who is it? Zod.
You know, and-
General Zod.
J-
Oh, what is this planet? What planet is this? Houston.
You have to get the reference. I get it. It's great. And
These kids know nothing.
they know nothing. And next week, next Thursday night, while we're on the show, CBS is releasing the first episode of Star Trek Picard.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Mr. Star Wars over here.
Well, let me tell you something. There's a lot of good shows. Anybody watch 911 on Fox?
I heard that's good.
I heard that's good.
Love that show. Love that show. It's a great show. There's another one.
There's a new one coming out.
There's a new one coming
with
out.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe and
Ann Perkins.
Steven Tyler's daughter, Liv.
Oh.
All right. Take it away, Gridiron Gang. Let's hear it.
Oh my God! It's conference championship weekend.
All right.
And as Carl mentioned at the top of the show, Dan, the man, Schweck, the commissioner, picked the Tennessee Titans to beat the Ravens.
I told you guys stay with the hot.
And I was shocked.
Stay with the hot hand.
I think maybe, well, we're starting to get to the point where, like, mobile quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, like Randall Cunningham couldn't do anything in the playoffs, and now Lamar Jackson's starting to fall into that trend. And it's very, very unfortunate because Lamar Jackson, no doubt about it, is NFL MVP this season. No doubt about it. But he's 0-2 right now. Looked ghosted in both playoff games he played, last year against the Chargers and now last week against the Tennessee Titans. The Titans have a tough task ahead of them.
Yes, they do.
You talked about going with the hot hand, but let me tell you something. The Kansas City Chiefs are holding an inferno in their hand.
All right, what do you got with the spread there? What do we got?
All right, so for the first game for the AFC Championship in Arrowhead, we got the Kansas City Chiefs giving 7.5 points to Tennessee Titans.
Ooh, what a woof.
That's an interesting one.
What's going to happen? What Steve Spagnuolo needs to do is, he used to work with Andy Reid on Eagles. He needs to put 8 men in the box, stop Derrick Henry, make Ryan Tannehill from Texas A&M University try to throw more than 88 yards to beat them on Sunday.
I put a thing on my personal blog, Syria, and I said if the Chiefs can hold Derrick Henry to under 100 yards rushing, they got a chance.
Because if Chiefs don't turn over the ball and Patty Mahomes starts rolling with the offense, nobody can stop him.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
They were down 24-0, and they did a 44-point turnaround and won by 20, 51 to 31.
You ready? Got a pen?
Never
Start writing them down?
Never seen anything.
We're going to start with Andy. The Kansas City Titan game. Who do you got, and what do you think the score?
Tennessee Titans by 17 points.
Are you serious?
Give a final.
Final score? Final score, I'm going to say 35-21.
Ooh,
Are you
Put that
kidding
down.
me?
Put
That down. Here's the thing. If you watch the game, Mike Vrabel and Ryan Tannehill have nothing to lose. They have nothing to prove, so Tannehill is gunslinging the entire time. That's exactly what he did against the Baltimore Ravens.
That's exactly what my uncle told me.
He gunslings the whole time because he doesn't care. Because guess what? If they lose the game, they made it that far.
The Titans literally do have nothing to lose.
They have nothing to lose.
Like out of all the teams in the AFC playoff picture, they literally had nothing to lose.
They're dangerous.
And so because they don't care if they win these games. They're just going to keep winning games because they got the confidence now. 35-21.
35-21. No, I'm sorry. 35-17.
35
Yeah.
cents. Okay, we got to
All
go
right,
with the
let's go
commissioner.
with the commish now.
Commish.
All right, so last week I made the pick of the week when I took the Tennessee Titans and the upset
Oh
over
my God.
over the Baltimore Ravens. But let me tell you something,
By
my
the way,
friends.
Alice.
Let me tell you something, my friends. Matt right here just said, and Andy just said that the Titans have nothing to lose. That is correct until they do lose, and they will lose. They will. The ride ends this weekend because those Kansas City Chiefs, you can't get into shootout with them. They're not going to be able to keep up. I don't care what anybody says. There's just too many weapons on that Kansas City team.
Final
They're
score.
gonna put it out there. Kansas City 42.
Woo.
Titans 17.
What? Get out of here.
Wow.
All right.
Statue of Tannehill.
So, to reference a certain movie that a lot of people would know, it's Midnight Cinderella. The Kansas City Chiefs have a top 5 offense. The Tennessee Titan defense has been playing great. They've held their last 3 opponents 32 total points combined. But it's an Arrowhead. It's going to be loud. The Chiefs are looking for their first Super Bowl appearance in 50 years, which is a stupid long time. And I think ultimately it's going to be one of those games where you gotta score points to compete, and I don't think the Tennessee Titans can do it. I'm going to say the Chiefs win 38-20.
Woo. Oh boy, I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm staying with the hot hand. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go Titans 27, Chiefs 20.
There we go. That's the spirit.
All right.
Good choice.
Now we got the Philly people over there.
Go ahead, Cap. I'll go last. Go ahead, my friend.
I absolutely love that 42-17.
Wow. You're going to stay with the
Absolutely.
same score.
Yeah.
All right. Whoa, look at that.
42-17 Chiefs.
If I may say one thing about football, to give you guys a little critical thinking here. So the potential Super Bowl matchup could be the Chiefs versus the Packers. It's a 100-year anniversary, and
Super
the
Bowl
first
one.
ever championship game was between the Packers and Chiefs.
And also, you could call it the State Farm
Wow.
Bowl, given the commercials.
Rigged. Tune in next week.
Go ahead there, boss.
All right.
Go ahead, Big C. What do you
And
got?
then we still got the NFC title game.
Hold on. What's the Big C got?
All right, so I'm gonna stick with Kansas City. When they were down by 24, they said, "Okay, let's flip up the switch." They scored 4 unanswered touchdowns in the second quarter. Got the ball back and scored 3 more times. They scored on 7 straight possessions, 7 straight touchdowns when they got the ball. So I'm gonna think Big Red's gonna go back to the second Super Bowl and do Kansas City 35,
Okay.
Tennessee 10.
Wow.
Woo! Get on the train. Woo! You're not going to stop it.
So
7 straight possessions. Touchdown. Chiefs.
So now we got one more game to go before we go off the air. The NFC Championship game between the red-hot San Francisco 49ers, who looked all as bit as good as the number 1 seed could be in a return off a bye, versus Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, who are the number 2 seed. The Packers almost blew an 18-point lead at home against the Seahawks, who got ribbed, by the way. They got ripped
A
off.
couple of bad calls in that game by the refs.
Really bad calls.
He wasn't even in for the touchdown, and then he was down on that other play.
Yes.
But,
That was bad. I love the 49ers a lot. I love their defense. I think the running game is great. Jimmy Garoppolo's smart. Aaron Rodgers on a little bit of a decline. And I mentioned this before we went on air. The 49ers held Dalvin Cook to 21 yards rushing total. You can imagine the key star on the Packers at this point is Aaron Jones. And what do? You stack up on the run. You keep Aaron Rodgers throwing, and Aaron Rodgers is not as good as he once was. He threw for under 250 yards this last week against Seattle. And because the 49ers have a great secondary, I feel like the 49ers are going to take advantage of an old Aaron Rodgers and go to the Super Bowl and win for the first time since the NFL's 75th anniversary. I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to go to this side of the table first before I go to mine.
We still got more time before Super Bowl, so don't worry about it. Let's just worry about this game.
Okay.
Andy, give a score. Who do you like?
So for this game, I think the Packers take it 42 to 13.
Whoa!
Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers is back, and he's gonna have a tremendous game. I think.
Oh
I don't.
my God.
You know what?
Wow.
Defense wins championships, but
Where is this
Rodgers,
game?
Rodgers.
It's in San Francisco. So he's going to do this. He's going to basically, boom, like this.
That's it. The whole
Discount
time. Every time. Free Aaron Jones. Discount double check.
Discount double check.
Wow.
Go ahead, Commish.
Big
All right.
cheese.
Well, Mr. Sirianni over here pretty much just read Aaron Rodgers' eulogy. He's buried. He's 6 feet under right now, according to Matt. But I don't know about that. I mean, look, the Packers are a lovable franchise,
They
right?
are.
I mean, you can't. I don't know people that say I hate the Packers.
No, I agree with you 100%.
Right, and Aaron Rodgers has proven he can win in the playoffs. He can take a team, he can carry them on his shoulders and get to the promised land.
That's true.
Right. But with all that being said, with all that being said, the last time they rolled into San Francisco, they got whomped.
37-8.
The comment was just made that San Francisco's defense shut down Dalvin Cook to 21 yards rushing last week. They're going to do it again. For the San Francisco 49ers are the more complete team. They have that killer defense. They're at home. They're thirsty. They are going to the Super Bowl. Final score, San Francisco 34, Packers 23.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
The commish took the words right out of my mouth, but I'm going to go with a different score. I'm going to say 42 San Francisco, Packers 24. I think the 49ers, Dan just took the words right out of my mouth. I don't think I need to say it. I even said it in the pre-prediction statement, Sal.
All right. San Francisco 30, Pack 17.
Nobody's going for the big cheese.
All right, Casper, you want to go?
35-28, Green Bay.
Yeah. Discount double check for that man.
All right, hold on a
minute.
minute. What is the spread for that game?
It's minus 7.5.
7.5.
Who's getting the 7.5?
The 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 7.5, so the
they're
Packers are
favored by
getting
7.5.
7.5.
Oh, they're giving.
Well,
Okay.
both games are about the same.
Yeah, they're exactly the same line-wise.
Okay, so the commission already made that statement. Green Bay earlier in the year. Went to San Francisco. Lost by 30.
Got whopped.
Yeah, that wasn't even close. San Francisco was basically toying with them. They got all their defense back. So they'll hang. But I'm going to do San Francisco 27, Green Bay 17.
All right, little
All right.
score.
All
Okay.
right.
All right.
All right, folks, that's the scandal. We want to thank Leah from Miracle League of Milwaukee calling in. We want to thank everybody who listened. Everyone in the back, as usual. Monk, Gene, Ruben.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on HamiltonRadio.net, Channel 2. Also, the family over at CTF TV here in Jersey, who puts us on the air as well. I want to thank everybody for tuning in all around the globe. My great co-host, of course, always the boys, and the boys are back in town next week, January 23rd, the 1-year anniversary. Good night.
All right, I'm going to the doctor.
You okay?
No.
All right, brother?
Nah.
We off?
You want me to take you there? You sure?
Yeah, I'll be fine.